Hi, I'm Cari Kelemen. Today I have with me Jeff Miller. Jeff is running for U.S. Congressman out of Nevada District 4. How are you today, Jeff?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Cari. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Tell me, why do you want to run for Congress and what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, the reason I am running for Congress after 8 years of Obama, here I am. It's given birth to candidates like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's one of these things, for years, people have been coming to me telling me they lived in fear under the Obama administration. So it's on us, the patriots, the real Americans who are products of the American dream, to
Mm-hmm.
stand up and defend our country. If we don't do it, no one else is going to. So that's the reason I am running for Congress. And what I hope to accomplish while I'm there is to actually do good for the American people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a true representative as outlined by the Constitution. I want to do what's right for the people, repeal Obamacare, do my part. It's going to take obviously more than just me. We have to reach out to people across the state, reach our
Mm-hmm.
families and friends. But we have to get rid of the career politicians and get
Mm-hmm.
back to common sense conservative principles.
Okay, career politicians. So does that mean you are for term limits?
I am for term limits. Yes, I am. There's no reason this should not be a family business
Mm-hmm.
for these. Uh, the politicians that we have in America, they act as if they're elected monarchies,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not okay. That's
Yeah.
not who we are, to quote our former president.
Mm-hmm.
But we elect people to represent us. There's nothing wrong with people going in for a while, doing what they can, and going back into the private sector. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think so too. So do you come from the private sector?
I do, yes. I run a business, small business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm vice president of operations of Wild West Horseback Adventures here in Las Vegas. We're number one for what we do here, but we're number 14 in the world. I've created jobs. I have done things for our community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I tell a lot of people too. It doesn't matter who or what party a politician comes from, but if they've never created a job in the
Mm-hmm.
private sector, it's really unreasonable to expect them to create one while they're in Congress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or to understand what a businessman might need, or maybe getting some regulations out of your way. Have you experienced that as a small businessman?
We have constantly, and that's a big part of our campaign as well.
Mm-hmm.
We want to remove regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Regulations kill small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
It harbors growth. It harms our communities. It harms our economy. We have to get regulations off, and I support the free market. Free market is going to bring down the prices of any good and service there is, including health care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big thing for me is we got to repeal the Affordable Health Care Act.
Yeah.
We have to get all the regulations off of it. We have to drive down the cost, open up to the free market, then it's affordable again.
Yeah.
But here in Nevada, 14 counties are going to be without health care insurance starting next year.
Okay.
And in fact, my grandmother, 89 years old, she called me yesterday. She's been paying into Anthem for the past 30 years.
Mm.
She has stage 4 breast cancer now.
Mm.
She has received a $100,000 bill because the insurance has pulled out, and she's on the hook for this after she's been paying them with her own money. So
Yeah.
it's not just her, but that one hits close to home.
Sure.
But there's too many people. It's people are suffering. Our own fellow statesmen here in
Mm-hmm.
Nevada and across the country.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get back and actually care about our own. And
Yeah.
if we're not looking out for our own people, what kind of country are we?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so healthcare is a big issue for Nevadans. Is there any other issue that's kind of on the forefront?
Yes, immigration is a big one.
Okay.
Immigration, because here in Las Vegas, we have one of the largest illegal alien populations in the
Mm-hmm.
country.
Mm.
They are under the impression that we are a sanctuary city. According to the Department of Justice, they just did an investigation. Turns out Clark County, the county that Las Vegas is in, is considered not a sanctuary city. But that's kind of a gray area because we have a lot of unincorporated areas within Las Vegas that, but we also have the school board
Mm.
who has come out and declared our public school system here a sanctuary campus. And what I've told a lot of folks too, I said, now listen, I'm obviously against this,
Mm-hmm.
but if we're going to if we're going to be forced, this is going to be forced down our throats. Let's take the libertarian route with this. People seek sanctuary for many different things.
Mm-hmm.
Some people want to start a new life. Some people want to escape child support. That's going to be a big one. A lot of people want to escape for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
They come here, find the sanctuary status here. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
This is complete chaos. This is madness. And our current congressman, the guy I'm going to be up against in the general, he boasts proudly on Twitter. He says that this is not an accusation. This is in black and white. He came to this country illegally. He snuck across the border and now sits in the halls of Congress writing laws. I asked Mr. Kelemen, are you a citizen now? Crickets. That's what I get. I don't know if he is or he's not. I don't know. And I think it's not something like I didn't throw this out there. He said it himself.
Right.
And that's not who we are as Nevadans. We have to get back, know who's representing us.
Right. So we possibly have a U.S. congressman from Nevada who's not even a citizen of the United States.
Possibly. I mean, he's put it out there. He came to this country illegally as a child, and he never said when he became citizen.
Yeah.
And see, that's a big thing too, because I talked to a lot of people who come to this country. The proudest moment of their lives is when they became an American citizen. Mm-hmm. They talk about it. They're so proud. But I hear a lot about how he came, but I never hear when he became a citizen. So he has some questions to answer concerning that.
Exactly. Well, so healthcare, immigration, is there anything else?
Taxes. Okay. Taxes is a big one. Taxes, we're constantly getting jousted for something here, whether it's commerce tax. Our taxes are through the roof, and I would be willing to support a flat tax. But like I told other people, I'm willing to go even further. The government has no right to ask for another tax increase until the government becomes better stewards of the money they take in and start balancing the budget and get back to fiscal conservatism and saying, hey, we treat the government like our pocketbook. If we have money, we can spend. If we don't, we save, we cut programs. Where's our leaks coming from? So but I am not going to support any tax increase of any kind until they start becoming better stewards and there's some accountability on where the people's money is going.
Well, I think you're absolutely right on that. The government, if families are doing it with their own bank accounts, the government should do it too.
They should.
Yeah, balance your checkbook. Anything else you want to say about your platform? What you would like people to know that you're really for?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'm really for, I do support the president here in Nevada. The only reason Reuben Keehan won this last election, he's going to be a one-term congressman, and it was actually a fluke of how he won. Our old Congressman Crescent Hardy, he took a never Trump stance along with our Senator Joe Heck at the time. So a lot of conservatives, me included, we chose to go with a third-party candidate who had conservative values, but we voted our principles, and we said we're not going to support these people. How many times have conservatives held their nose voting for Republicans? Yeah. John McCain, Mitt Romney. I could throw a whole lot in there.
Yeah.
But the point is, we went ahead and voted who they told us to vote, and they thought they had more influence than what they did. They thought they had enough pull to tell the people of Nevada how to vote, instead of them listening to the people of Nevada saying, this is who we support, we want you to get on board, and we'll vote for you. They chose not to do that, and that's how Reuben won. Reuben won with 10,000 votes. He did not win because he's Reuben Keehan, the identity politics major who all of a sudden, no. He won because of that rift. So I do support the president, and I will tell you this. President Trump can rest assured he will have a strong ally with me in Nevada. And also, I supported Trump in the elections. I voted for him. So there's no doubt. I am a Trumper, but I'm more than that. I am my own man as well, and I want to represent the people of Nevada.
That's fantastic. One last issue I want to ask you about, because it's in the news today, voter fraud. Has Nevada been a victim of voter fraud?
Yeah, we're actually being investigated by the Department of Justice for the voter fraud. I ran 2 years ago in 2016. I ran in the primary of Congressional District 1.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 6-man race. We did good, but I was going through those precinct totals, and they don't add up. You go through the precincts, and it's not every single precinct. It's kind of scattered here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I got 15 votes in this precinct. My opponent got 7, and then another opponent got 16.
Mm-hmm.
They would give some of us 2 extra votes. They would give us one person 1 extra vote. They wouldn't take votes away from anything that was counted up, but occasionally here and there they would actually pad the count. So I started doing some investigation. I asked, where could this possibly could be coming? Because first I brought it up to the county
Mm-hmm.
party. I brought it up to a lot of people. They said, "Oh, Jeff, you're reading it wrong. It's confusing." I'm like, guys, I'm not stupid. I run a business. I know when numbers don't add up. I said, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a real good answer for that. Mm-hmm. So, but the real interesting part of that, we hear a lot about it on the Democrat side. But I went and looked at the Democratic precincts, and I didn't find the same strange numbers that I found on the Republican side. But I will say this one thing, too. Our current Congresswoman in CD1, Dina Titus, she was actually trying to sign up illegal immigrants to vote the other day. She was actually explaining to them their rights as citizens here in America who've come here illegally. Well, if you came here illegally, you don't really have rights.
You're not a citizen.
No, exactly. But she's putting this information out there to these people that if you paid someone to get you documented here in the States and they didn't do it, they took your money and ripped you off, she's putting on consumer protection workshops for these people.
Oh, wow.
So this is what we're up against here.
Oh, boy.
And I could give you names, I can give you numbers. There was one gentleman, he helps our campaign. He helps a lot of conservative campaigns, not just mine.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually sitting out in front of the polls where people with out-of-state plates are coming in, casting ballots, and they're leaving. Gardenias, the Hispanic grocery store here. Now, I love Gardenias. I shop there. They have great prices. I love it. They're good people. But there were some shenanigans going on. They were busting them in from California, had them lined up all the way around the building, letting people line up after the polls have closed. And I will tell you this one, too. This one's probably going to be a shock to you. Maybe not. General election nights came in. The polls came in. Or the polls were closed and numbers were coming in. I get a knock at the door. I was going to go to my friend's victory party. And it was a man and a woman. They knocked on the door, and they were looking for this lady that a week before I got this Finger Hut catalog in the mail with her name on it. And at the time I threw it away. I didn't think much about it.
Yeah.
Until I get these people asking for this woman. I said, well, no, she doesn't live here. You have the wrong house. Sorry, guys. And they said, have you voted yet? And I said, well, yeah, I voted earlier. Mm-hmm. And I see their Hillary pins. They had a Hillary pin, and they had a dragon on this side. I said, guys, are you with the Hillary campaign? They said, yeah, we are. And it was an English man, a man with an English accent, and a little older lady. And I said, well, you don't sound like you're from here. You sound like you're from England. He says, no, I was born in Texas. Now, I grew up in Arkansas, traveled to Texas many times. I know the Texas accent. So I said, well, my friend, you don't sound like you're from Texas. What part? And he said, well, I got to admit, they actually flew me in to help sign up voters here and get them to the polls.
Flew him in from where?
He was from Manchester, England. He was brought in for the Hillary campaign.
Oh my.
And so they said, you said you voted. I said, I have voted. They said, would you be willing to vote again? I said, you're asking me to break the law. And plus, I'm a Republican. I don't think you're going to want to talk to me, and especially since I just ran for Congress too, guys. So they said, oh, well, thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. And they started walking away. Now, I was in a rush. I'm smarter now, wiser. Mm-hmm. When someone knocks on the door, I'm going to have the camera going because I don't know what these people are doing.
Yeah.
So as I was leaving, I had to go down the cul-de-sac, turn around, make a U-turn. They seen me, and they took off running. Now, we know.
That usually means you're guilty of something.
Exactly.
Innocent people don't run away from
Right.
other people.
No, and they were up to no good, asking me to vote twice, and then the guy lying to me saying he's from Texas, not from Texas, and you can't have foreign nationals get involved into a federal election. That's against the law in itself.
So Hillary was colluding with Manchester, England, basically.
Well, this one individual, I mean, I don't know who put him up to it, and I don't know the details or even the guy's name, but I do know that they came to my house, and that's what happened.
Well, there's one other thing I read about. I'm trying to remember if it was in 2008 or 2012, but we've had the same problem here in Dallas County, where the electronic voting machines are warehoused.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be very interesting for you to check out who owns the warehouse. I understand that in Las Vegas, at least in the past, the warehouse in Las Vegas that houses the electronic voting machines is owned by Roy Reed, son of Harry.
I wouldn't doubt it. Roy Reed is the reason that the Bundys, I'm sure you're familiar and heard about the Clive and Bundy incident. Now, that was all a setup because of Rory and Harry Reid's old campaign manager. So, but yeah, the Reeds have got their fingers in everything. And in fact, you know what? They just had DEF CON here, a big hacker convention over at Mandalay Bay. They actually hacked one of the voting machines, the electronic voting. So it can be done.
Yes. Yes, it can. Would you move for something like possibly paper ballots or something like that if you became congressman? I also understand from my state representative here in Texas that most voter fraud happens with mail-in ballots.
Yes, I would support paper ballot. I mean, you have to have some kind of accountability, and I don't think it's too far reasonable for even to set up a database for individuals to go back and say, hey, I voted for this and voted for who. And I understand also the privacy concerns, but at least give the person a printout and let them do with it whatever they
just
need.
a way to verify. You punch a button and it goes somewhere and you have no idea, So there needs to be a receipt, and I usually vote early, and that way on election day, and then you can vote on a paper ballot. If you vote, at least where I live, if you vote early, it's electronic only. But if you wait till election day, you can actually vote on paper. So I just feel better about it. There's actually a paper trail. So. Yeah,
and I feel the same way. And here in Nevada, if a person comes to the polls and they ask for a paper ballot, they're supposed to give you one. But a lot of times the precinct workers, they're just not fully trained. They're not fully equipped. If you ask for one, I got to admit, I don't have that much confidence that they're going to be able to turn one up for you.
Yeah.
So we have to do a better job of training our poll workers. Even the caucus here.
Oh, that's right. You're a caucus state.
That was a disaster. People were given 2 caucus forms. Here, who do you want? And here, you want another one?
Oh.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
We got to get better.
Yeah. Do you want to? Is that something you'd like to change? Could it? I mean, would that be something you would spend political capital on, as changing the caucus system, or do you see that possibly changing in the future?
I mean, it's possible. The caucus situation's new to our state. Pretty much.
New.
Yeah, it's only been here like 2008, and you have to remember, like a lot of these caucus states, like the Iowa caucus, it exists only for the corn lobby. Whoever wins the Iowa caucus is a person who is willing to sell out to the corn lobby. So they're the ones who are going to get the backing. They're going to get the team behind them. They're going to get the money. So that's going to be. But from there, I mean, look. Yeah, I mean, I would consider some changes to it. If we're not going to change it all the way back to a primary, we have to do some more things to make it more secure. We have to do things because
I'm just surprised that you were a primary state up until 2008. I figured caucus was a holdover of an older system, and they just hadn't updated. It sounds like your state's gone backwards.
Well, you have to keep in mind it's the Reed machine was behind that,
Mm.
and there's a lot of. I mean, listen, with the caucus, it sounds cool. People say, "Oh, you get to vote early," and all that. That's one good benefit of it. But also, you have to remember it causes a lot of discord a lot of times between certain people,
Well,
where a person can actually get up there and give a speech on a candidate's behalf, and if you're in the minority, you could be bullied into making a decision you don't really want to make, and it happens.
yeah.
Where if it's more private, you go and vote and end of story. The only thing about the primary, it's a closed primary, which is good, and it also is bad because Republicans vote Republicans, Democrats vote Democrats, but then the independents feel totally left out. So the problem really is a two-party system. It is one or the other. So a lot of people have left the Republican Party. They feel forgotten,
Mm-hmm.
and like I explained, they're still conservatives, but
Yeah.
they join the IAP or they join the Libertarian Party, and the Libertarian Party gets so far one way where they're like, where do we go now? And so I would encourage everyone, don't leave the Republican Party. Let's fix the one we have,
Yeah.
and and go from there. But yeah, we got a lot of problems. We got a lot of things we have to work on.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're putting yourself out there. I so appreciate somebody who will run for office. We have a lot of people saying we need a primary so and so, we need new people. You're actually somebody who's saying, "Okay, I'll do it." You've raised your hand, you put your face and your name out there. You're trying to raise money and actually make a difference with your life. Leaving Nevada and going to DC to serve in the swamp for a spell. So I appreciate that very much. If people are interested in your campaign and how to support you, what information do they need to know?
Well, I would invite them to go to our website, millerfornevada.com. And we're having to fight this on the grassroots level because obviously we're not the establishment's pick.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to win them over, and we're doing that by reaching them saying, hey, this is how we can actually do this.
Yeah.
And we reach them in a way, and that's really politics in itself. You take people that are against you and you find a way to say, hey, guys, I'm really not that bad of a guy. I'm doing what the people have asked, and this is not unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to get out there. We need volunteers, and volunteers can come from all around the country. We need people to help us work the phones. We also need to assemble our ground teams in Nevada, in District 4, and then also we need financial support just to be able to stay competitive.
Yeah.
I've always been a good steward with people's donations. I treat it as if it was something that I was going to give to someone else. We don't spend it foolish. We don't spend it reckless. And being the underdog, we have to spend it in ways that maximizes every dollar. We don't use consultants.
Mm-hmm.
We have advisors.
Mm-hmm.
If we need information, we will go find the smartest person in the world that we can find and have access to, and we'll get that.
Yeah.
But we're not going to waste people's money on consulting firms that are just going to be yes men and tell you what you want because
Yeah.
you're paying them, and that's just not right. So we would like to invite you to go to millerfornevada.com, get involved. You can also sign up for our newsletter there, stay up on our updates. But that's a big thing, volunteers and obviously financial support just to be able to stay competitive in the race.
Excellent. So that's Miller for Congress and spell out FOR?
FOR Nevada, Nevada.
Okay,
It's
Miller for
Miller
Nevada.
for Nevada.
Excellent.
Yes.
.com. Well, Jeff, God's richest blessings on you. Thank you for
Well, you too. I appreciate it.
Thank you for stepping forward and doing what you're doing, and we wish you a victory in November 2018.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.